All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It is one of the most anticipated weekends on the schedule for the National Football League. Championship weekend is here. We're down to four teams that still have an opportunity to hoist the Vince Lombardi Trophy for this NFL season. And after tomorrow, it's going to be two. We're going to crown an NFC champion who will take home the George Halas Trophy, and then an AFC champion who will take home the Lamar Hunt Trophy. So, who will it be? Who will be the two teams that will advance to Super Bowl number 57 out in Glendale? And with that said, here are my picks for Conference Championship Sunday in the National Football League. The two best teams in the NFC are set to get it on tomorrow in the city of brotherly love. And I'm talking about the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. And if you've watched football this season, it's clear as day that the Eagles and Niners had really separated themselves from everybody else in the NFC. And this is why they are the final two teams that are standing. Both are relying on young quarterbacks. Brock Purdy for the San Francisco 49ers, and of course, Jalen Hurts for Philadelphia. Now, in regards to Brock Purdy, this will be the biggest test that he is facing because most of his games so far have been at home at Levi Stadium. This time around, you're going on the road, and then this is going to be the most hostile environment that Brock Purdy has faced. And on top of that, this is going to be the best team that he has faced. You think about the Eagles with that pass rush, and they know how to get after you. So it's going to be important for Purdy to get that ball out quick and rely on the talent around him. But when you think about San Francisco, they get off of the bus at the stadium running the football, and I don't see San Francisco wavering from that philosophy. If you go back and watch the game this past Sunday versus the Dallas Cowboys, Dallas was very stout versus the Niners run early on. But throughout that game, San Francisco just continued to gash them and gash them and gash them. I liken the 49ers running game to a boxing match where it's a scenario where the body blows might not hurt you in the first, second, and third round, but around round seven, eight, and nine, you start to feel it, and then you're going to succumb to it. And that's what happens with teams when they face the Niners. Now, Christian McCaffrey hurt that calf last week. He said he's going to be a go. You still got Elijah Mitchell in that backfield, and you always have to worry about the X factor, Debo Samuel, whether it be as a pass catcher or a runner. Then, of course, George Kittle, the all-world tight end, and then the likes of Brandon Ayuk on the outside. It's going to be very interesting to see how this Eagles defense can slow down this Niners offense. Then, when you're talking about the Eagles passing attack, obviously, they were smooth and very fluid last Saturday versus the New York Giants. The 49ers pass rush is much better than that of the Giants. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the recovering shoulder of Jalen Hurts will be able to hold up against this Niners front. Now, we haven't seen Nick Bosa really get off so far in this postseason for San Francisco. Great players always tend to rise to the occasion at those key moments. It's going to be interesting to see what type of impact that Bosa can have for the 49ers in this one. We know about the Niners pass rush. We know what they can do at linebacker, and that's going to be very important because there is some vulnerability in that Niners secondary. And if that's the case, you got to like the matchup of A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith going up against that secondary, but it's going to come down to whether or not Jalen Hurts has the ability to get the football off. I think both of these defenses are going to be up for the challenge. This is going to be a scenario where both of these teams are strong enough where they can overcome a turnover or two by their quarterback in this contest and still have a way to win this game. It's going to be 37 degrees at kickoff. I think defense special teams, and field position are all going to be a factor in this one. But when it's all said and done, I'm going to take Philadelphia to win at home by the score of 27-20. Now you got a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game, as you're going to have the Cincinnati Bengals going back to Arrowhead to face the Kansas City Chiefs. The line on this one has gone back and forth throughout the week. First, Kansas City opened up as a slight favorite, then it shifted to Cincinnati. Now it's back to Kansas City as the Chiefs are now a 1.5 point favorite. They've moved up in this contest over Cincinnati. Of course, the biggest question heading into this one, the health of Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. We saw him suffer that high ankle sprain last Saturday versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's been a full participant in practice this week. But my biggest thing with Mahomes' injury is this: if you've ever had a high ankle sprain, moving around is one thing, but game type situations are another. And the Bengals know about those reports. They're going to be coming after him. They're going to be testing him, and it's all going to be about his lateral movement. Can he or can he not be able to move? And then on top of that, what happens if Mahomes gets hit? Tyler Spencer, you're saying this game has me so nervous. Feels like the Chiefs are due to beat us eventually. Well, I'll tell you like this, from a fan's perspective, Cincinnati's very confident. We're hearing to talk about Burrowhead, this, that, and the third, and I'm sure that the Chiefs have not taken that lightly. But for me, I still think this game comes down to the health of one Patrick Mahomes. You look at it, Travis Kelsey obviously is his go-to guy, and Jacksonville let Kelsey get off last week. For me, I look at Cincinnati. They have a much better pass rush than Jacksonville, and I think that is going to be a key in this game, because if Cincinnati can throw the timing of Patrick Mahomes off even more than it probably already will be on that bum ankle, this Chiefs offense could be facing an uphill battle. I look at it like this also. With this Chiefs secondary, they do not, I repeat, do not have the athletes back there to match up with what Cincinnati can bring to them from the receiving standpoint. And that has been a huge reason why Cincinnati's won their last three versus Kansas City. They don't have anybody to stop Jamar Chase. They don't have anybody to stop Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins. So with that said, it's kind of like pick your poison. And then we know what Joe Mixon can do as both a runner and a receiver. I know that the Bengals still have injuries on that offensive line, but we saw last week versus the Buffalo Bills, the Bengals came in there with their backups, and honestly, they look better running the football with the backups than they did with their starters. I think the key for Kansas City, they want to score a touchdown early and get the crowd into the game. Obviously, the crowd is already going to be in the game of Arrowhead, one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. And that goes back to the days when the late Marty Schottenheimer coached the Kansas City Chiefs. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be imperative also for the psyche of this team as a whole, because Patrick Mahomes obviously is their leader. And, if he goes out there and does a Willis Reed type performance and gets this team going early with a big score, obviously his team is going to be fired up, as well as everybody in that stadium. Cincinnati, though, they have the ability to weather any type of storm because of their quarterback. You look at Joe Burrow, and of course, a lot of people call him Joe Cool because he is calm, cool, and collected in that pocket, and nothing seems to phase him. And the thing is, this team, just like the Chiefs feed off of Mahomes, the Bengals feed off of Burrow. This is a scenario right here where, just like it is in the NFC, I feel like the Bengals and Chiefs are the two best teams in the AFC. They are the two best coach teams, and they have arguably the two best quarterbacks right now in the NFL. And when you have that dude at quarterback that can go out there and win games for you, it gives life to your team. Last year, these two teams met in an epic that had to go to overtime to be decided. I'm not sure if this one is going to go to overtime, but I think it is going to be a battle to the very end. Kansas City sometimes struggles to run the football. Obviously, the quick dump off passes will be needed for them in this game to try to neutralize that Bengals pass rush. But I'm not sure if this Chiefs defense has enough to slow down this Cincinnati offense. And when it's all said and done, I'm going to take the Bengals to beat the Chiefs for the second year in a row and get back to the Super Bowl, this time by the score of 27-23. So, folks, those are my picks for Conference Championship Sunday. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you are on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Tyler Spencer, I know you're probably going to be watching this one on the edge of your seat tomorrow, wherever you plan to partake in the game. I hope that you enjoy it, and hopefully, the Bengals will give you something to cheer about tomorrow night. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off and saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge show here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.